Hey everybody, welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that you can pre-order by this weekend over at infinityflux.net so you don't miss out on any of the comic goodness. And this is a very big week. We've got another Absolute book, and if it's any telling of how well Absolute Batman sold, you do not want to miss out on this. We've got so many awesome number ones. This is a big show.
Oh, yeah.
So let us not tarry. Let's get into it, starting with our featured comics.
We are going to start with Absolute Superman #1, and Andy and I literally just finished reading this like right before we clicked the record button. Holy cow. All right, so Absolute Superman #1. This is written by Jason Aaron. The art is by Rafa Sandoval, and it looks amazing. And, you know, this is an absolute universe where the heroes don't have the advantages that they have on the regular Earth. So Superman doesn't have his Fortress of Solitude. He doesn't have his family. He doesn't really have a home. He's kind of a wandering nomad. In this, we see him in Brazil. We don't know how he got there, though. Like, he's been wandering for a while, and we don't really know. We have some guesses as to why he might be there, but we're not going to go over that right now because we don't have enough information. But we do know that, and the solicitations told us to, so we're not spoiling anything. We do know that he's been working against something called the Lazarus Corporation. And we know from the cover of #2 that the Lazarus Corporation uses, I guess we call them soldiers, but they call them peacemakers, and they look just like Peacemaker, but there's just a whole bunch of them. So that's kind of the antagonist that we see in this issue, and that we know he's going to be going up against at least for a little while. In this issue, we also get a look at what life on Krypton was like. We didn't see the planet explode. I'm assuming it did,
Yeah.
you know, just like regular. But we do see what life was like on Krypton. It reminded me a lot of the guilds. If you ever read the World of New Krypton from several years ago in Action Comics, with the different guilds, and the different guilds have different rankings. You know, the Science Guild is like the upper echelon, and then the Maintenance Guild, I believe, is the lower. So we learn a little bit more about that. So it reminded me a little bit of World of New Krypton mixed with some of the stuff that we saw at the beginning of Man of Steel, I think.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there are some similarities there with Jor-El, and knowing that something is wrong with the planet, and people not wanting to listen to him and things like that. I'm just trying to think about like what to say without spoiling anything.
It's just like a lot of the Absolute stuff we've read so far. It's familiar, but even the beginning of this with Krypton is familiar, but some key things are very different.
Yeah, and what we were talking about right before we started is there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more to sink your teeth into with this than with Absolute Batman, and that's not a knock on Absolute Batman. It's just that there's more. You know, you have Krypton, and then you have whatever Superman is doing on Earth, and why is he doing this? Whereas with Batman, it's like, oh, I see a lot of familiarities with the Batman that I know, but there's some differences as well, and they're going in different directions. But with this one, it's like, and in the end, so with Absolute Batman, you know, you get to the last like double page spread with the credits, and then you got to turn the page one more for a little like after credit surprise. This one has like 3 or 4 pages afterwards. And that left us with a bunch of questions.
That feels like we're giving you hints of some big stories out. You know, I don't know if we'll get an issue 2, 3, 4, but it's stories that are like, this is some big picture stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my questions that I talked about on Wednesday on our Comics to Pre-Order and a Flash show was I didn't know if we met Lois in this issue or the next one, but we do see her in this. I won't say anything more about that, but I will tell you that Lois Lane is in this issue, and we'll leave it there. But
there's more surprises too. You see on the cover about his suit is like, what's up with these like fiery parts of it and all of that.
We still don't know.
We still don't know all the details, but there is some cool new stuff about his suit that we don't want to reveal, but there's surprises along the way.
Yeah, for sure. This was great. Like I was really, it's leaving me with like, after reading Absolute Batman, I was just like, wow, that was really good. I can't wait to see what directions they go with this new version of Batman, because we knew he grew up with Oswald Cobblepot and Edward Nygma, and we know the other big shocking thing that they revealed near the end. We know, so I want to see what they do with that. With this one, I'm like, oh, what does this mean? What does that mean? What caused that to happen? So I have more questions, and that's a good thing. I have more questions
This
about
feels like a great water cooler book. Like
Yeah.
when this comes out at your comic book store after everybody reads it, it's gonna be great to come together and be like, what do you? Is that who you think it is?
Yeah.
Is this what you think it is?
There's a lot more. I feel like you could do a lot more theory crafting with this.
Yeah.
It's not quite as straightforward as Absolute Batman was, and we were sitting here right like this, reading it at the same time. And when we were done, we were like, we went back. We're going through pages. We're like, oh, but if we see this and then we see that, so maybe that means that this happened. So we're there's a lot more what ifs. What if this means that? What if that means this? There's a lot more of that in this than there was in Absolute Batman.
And there's a few names and nods to other DC things too. That's kind of like how the Peacemakers are some soldiers in this. There's other things too that are like, oh, okay. I wonder what that's like in the Absolute universe.
For sure. So we could go on about this for a whole hour, but we'll leave it there because we like I said, just read it. Don't want to. We're going to be very careful not to spoil anything too. But highest recommendation, 2 thumbs way up. And if, like you said, if Absolute Batman were any indication, please pre-order this if you want it, because do we have any Absolute Batmans left?
Very few. I don't expect us to have any Absolute Batman by the weekend.
Yeah.
I think Saturday may be the last day we have any, and that's all we can get until the second print comes out.
Right.
So if you don't have your Absolute Batman yet, go on infinityflux.net, order it right now, and then don't miss out on pre-ordering Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Superman, because those will do crazy, especially now that people saw how I heard the Absolute Batman #1 is like quadruple or triple in price now if you're trying to get it. So don't sleep on these, because these are all going to be hits.
Yeah.
To one degree or another, they're all going to be huge.
Yeah. So just to say, please pre-order this, and we loved this and cannot wait for more. There is like I said, so many theories and questions, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. See if we're right or not about a bunch of things. So we loved this. Please pre-order if you are interested, because this is great and it's going to sell out. So we have our A cover right there by Rafa Sandoval. So that's your interior artist, and like I said, the colors were really nice.
Yeah,
the coloring was really good too. Especially on Krypton, a lot of reds and other colors, and so yeah, really cool. Visually it looks beautiful.
Reds with splashes of redacted.
That's right. So we also have our Wes Craig variant. We have a Jim Lee variant. There is a Clayton Crane variant. There is a logo design foil variant, so to go with, like the Batman one. There's a blank sketch variant, and then there's a Jim Lee foil variant also.
And the foil for the Batman were the first to sell out. So don't miss out on pre-ordering the foils for these, because it seems like those are kind of the most sought after ones.
I do wish there was a foil version of just the A cover.
Yeah.
Like there was with Batman.
Yeah.
Because I really like Rafa Sandoval's art. And, and I love Jim Lee too, but Superman doesn't quite look like that.
This looks much more mature than what he does in the book.
Yeah, for sure. Loved it though. Absolutely loved it.
Also, I need McFarlane Toys to get on making figures of
these
three absolute versions of characters. They're all so unique. And
so
cool.
Now we can say for sure that DC is 3 for 3 so far on the Absolute books, because we read Absolute Wonder Woman a couple weeks back also and loved that one too. So DC, you're doing a great job with the Absolute books. Keep it coming.
Yes. Next up, there's more new stuff as Marvel is bringing back West Coast Avengers, but a little bit different this time. So this is going to be written by Jerry Duggan, and the art is by Danny Kim. And in this, Iron Man and War Machine are creating a new West Coast Avengers, incorporating villains who kind of want to turn over a new leaf, and that includes Ultron, which seems crazy because Ultron is like almost a Thanos level villain sometimes. But it seems like he wants to be good. He's been walking a straight and narrow, but some of the other members of the new West Coast Avengers, like Jessica Drew, aren't quite sure she trusts this, and there may be some tension among this team. So sounds really fun. This is going to be about heroes and villains kind of absolving themselves of past misdeeds, or looking forward for the heroes. It sounds really cool. We've got that new Iron Man suit there that's kind of retro.
Well, it looks like the Silver Centurion, which is one of my favorites. So I hope he wears that in that.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see also all the characters that are going to be involved in this. But Jerry Duggan is one of my favorite writers at Marvel. His Iron Man stuff was fantastic. It's just great, great stuff. So you don't want to miss out on this one. It seems like it's going to be a blast. We've got our A cover here. We have an Adam Hughes foil variant. Very cool. We have an
I
art
love that
germ.
one.
Yeah, so you can get a little bit more hints of some other characters that are
Yeah.
going to be in here. We have our Danny Kim variant, which is your interior artist.
And that's homaging New Avengers.
Yep, New Avengers.
Or was it New Avengers or Secret Avengers?
That's New
New
Avengers number
yeah.
one. Yeah.
The breakout, the first issue of the breakout story, yeah.
We have a Ji Young Lee variant, which more Spider Woman.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a Kasara gallery variant, like literally.
A literal art gallery.
Yeah, and that's your Silver Centurion armor there.
Yep.
Even that has the silver and red. We have a Ron Lim, which I think you're seeing a lot more of the characters are going to be on here, which is a very interesting.
That is most of them are villains, so it's almost like West Coast. It's like it's a villain rehabilitation program.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean that's what it sounds like it's going to be about.
Yeah.
But I didn't know the majority of them were going to be villains.
They are scraping the bottom of the barrel for some of those villains, I think.
And then we have a Sean Galloway Saturday Morning variant, which I would love that show.
Yeah, bring it on. All right, well, we've got all new Venom #1. This is written by Al Ewing and the artist by Carlos Gomez. And this takes place after the Venom War is over. We're still in the middle of it right now, but once it's all said and done, we are going to be presented with this new Venom. Who is this new Venom? No, we do not know. All we know is that it is a new Venom, and it's a new host wearing the Venom symbiote. The solicitation says it could be the journalist, the terrorist, the sidekick, or even the mayor. I'm assuming the mayor is Luke Cage. Have no idea who all those other ones are, or if they're even referencing anyone specifically, or if it's a new character that we'll meet and they're just one of those 3 other things. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. We don't really know much else. I want to know. I wish I at least knew. Are we going to find out who it is at the end of the first issue, or is it going to be like a whole story arc? But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah,
it's also interesting here. It looks like he's swinging from like his chest, like instead of webs, it looks like he's got part of his suit is grappling on from the knee and from the chest area.
That is cool. Although there was one of the covers that looks like he's shooting out webs though.
So, but maybe he kind of uses the costume in different ways,
which
could be interesting. And I like the kind of gold and black look is really neat. So I think this is gonna be great. I love Carlos Gomez's art, and I think that's gonna be super, super cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It looks the covers and the interior. We've seen a little bit of interior art. Looks great. So this is our A cover. Is that Carlos Gomez? No, that's Adam Kubert.
Yeah.
We've got a Chris Giarrusso variant, which is the funny version of that. We have the Bangus Marvel vs. Capcom cover. There's a Giuseppe Camuncoli. There's a Humberto Ramos wraparound cover, which
is pretty sick.
It's really just his tongue wrapping around. There's an Abon Coelho gold foil variant. That's the one that I really like. There is an Insignia variant, and then there is a Stephen Platt variant.
Yeah, I'm signing up for this. I love Carlos Gomez's art, and I just think this sounds really cool. It sounds, even in some of the stuff, sounds like he's back to New York City. It's going to be maybe a little bit less space stuff, more, boots on the ground, city stuff. So very cool. Next up, we have JSA #1. This is our next all-in #1. Instead of it being like one of the other all-ins that's continuation, this is a new #1, starting right from the beginning by Jeff Lemire and the artist by Diego Olortelli. And I got a chance to read this earlier today, and this is awesome. I'm a huge JSA fan. I love the Jeff Johns JSA and the James Robinson and all of that. This brings the best of classic JSA and more modern JSA together in a very like generational feeling book. So you've got your team that's Hawkgirl, Hawkman, Jade, Obsidian, Jesse Quick, Hourman, Ted Grant, Wildcat, Sandman, but you also have I don't remember if it's Wildcat's daughter that's also Wildcat, but you've got even more characters than that. This is a huge roster because it brings in some of the original and some of the later generations. But as they are running into something big happens on the JSA. Something happens to a few of the members, and this causes a big divide within the JSA as some of the younger members, especially led by Obsidian, thinks that the way they've been handling things has been too passive. It's been too, well, let's stop and let's do recon, let's do all this. He thinks they need to go out there and take the fight to the bad guys.
Mm.
Where his sister Jade is a little bit more like, no, we stand for something. We don't go out. We don't seek out violence. We prevent it. That kind of thing. This causes a big divide within JSA, where some people side with Obsidian, some side with Jade, and it's definitely, it even mentions in this that they realize they are a family, but families can be broken.
Yeah.
And it's super cool. All the characters, the brownstone that they work out of, the villains that are in here. If you're a JSA fan, or maybe you're new to JSA, this is a great jumping on point. It gives you a bunch of characters right off the bat, and a big mystery that sounds like it's going to be as we go along. Like issue 2 is going to have some flashbacks to maybe what happened that they are referring to in this. Just really, really cool. So highly recommend this one, and this is a number 1, so great jumping on point. Obsidian does some pretty scary stuff in here, since he can kind of do like shadows and everything.
Yeah.
He makes some stuff that he would rather scare the criminals first and then go after them, and it makes it pretty cool. Plus, you've got all your favorites in here, along with Dr. Fate and Jay Garrick and Alan Scott and the classics. So, yeah, I loved it. I can't wait to read more of it. So we've got JSA number 1. This is our A cover, and that A cover was by your interior artist. Yeah. Now we have a Cully Hamner variant with our new Injustice Society of America, which you'll have to read to fully understand why some of these characters are there.
I love that at least a couple of the characters are characters that we saw in the miniseries, the Wesley Dodds Sandman, the miniseries, and then the Jay Garrick Flash.
Yeah, and even back to some older stuff. This is going to be a cool team to watch. Yeah. We also have a Travis Mercer variant, and it's great to see Hawkman and Hawkgirl working together. Yeah. This too. That's always cool. We've got a Jeff Lemire variant, which is your writer, but he's also an awesome artist. We have a blank sketch variant, and we have a foil version of the Travis Mercer variant, which one of my favorite DC characters of all time is Wildcat.
Yeah.
I just think he's so cool. He trained Batman how to fight.
He looks great right there, too. I love it.
And he's just as fun in here as he's just ready. Even at one point, he's like, oh, I need to go out there and fight with, I think he's talking about Hawkman or something like that. And one of the other members is like, you can't actually do that, right? Yeah. Like, they're out there flying and you're just sitting here punching people.
He's very Ben Grimm. And I just want to punch people.
Yeah. So much fun.
Next up, we've got Batgirl number 1. This is another new all-in book, a new number 1, new jumping on point. This one is by Tate Bromble, and the art is by Takeshi Miyazawa. And in this one, there is a deadly group of assassins that shows up to kill Batgirl. Batgirl in this is Cassandra Cain. And Lady Shiva, who is her mother, comes to save her, and they kind of have to work out put their differences aside in order to make it out of wherever they are alive against these assassins. But then after that, Cass embarks on a jaw-dropping martial arts-filled adventure in her quest for truth and justice and revenge. So I'm not really sure if she's out getting revenge on the assassins just because they tried to kill her, or if she's working at something else. But yeah, we've seen her in the pages of Birds of Prey. And it's been a long time since she has had her own series.
Yep.
And we are getting that again. It's going to be a new jumping on point. Did you read the preview of this?
I did. I skimmed through it.
Yeah.
I was going to say the art in this is awesome. It reminds me of, I always talk about the mid-2000s Nightwing series. I love the tone of that.
Yeah.
This feels a lot like that. It's a very dark Gotham.
Yeah.
And, the sky's always red or something. And it very much feels like that. Great art for classic Bat family character.
Nice. Yeah, so I can't wait for this. I'll have to look at that preview later. So this is our A cover. We have a Jeff Dakel cover. There's there's an Art Germ cover. That one looks really cool. And that's it.
Yep. Next up, we've got Star Wars Battle of Jakku Republic Under Siege number 1. So this is our next part in the big opus that they're doing of the Battle of Jakku, which is going to be multiple mini-series that make up the full thing. So we have Insurgency Rising going on right now. Issue number 2 will be coming out next week. I'll be going over it on our Monday show. But this is, you don't want to miss this if you're reading the first one, because this all goes together. But it's continuing on with the writer Alex Seguera and the artist by Stefano Raphael. And in this, Luke must seek out a relic that could hold clues to the future of the Jedi Order. Plus, where is Han and Chewbacca? I'm guessing we'll see maybe some of that during the first miniseries, setting up some of this stuff. And then it says the return of a fan favorite guest star and ally. My guess for this, I don't know for sure, is Dr. Afra. Which, if it is, that would be super cool because that would be the first time we've seen her post film original trilogy. You know, we are going out into the unknown regions of Star Wars, and the Battle of Jakku, I believe, happens 1 year after Return of the Jedi. So all of this is going to be contained within that 1 year, and I can't wait. So there's going to be a couple more of these miniseries, so don't miss out on each of the number ones as they come out, telling this awesome story. So we've got our A cover here. We also have this, it just says Republic Under Siege variant cover. Or no, this is the Isaacs.
The Sean Isaacs.
Sean Isaacs,
your Green Arrow artist,
is,
for only one more issue, though. Bummer.
Yep, very cool. And also want to mention that there is a Insurgency Rising #1, the miniseries that's going on right now, a second print because we sold out of the first print day one.
Wow. Okay.
So if you missed out on it, definitely get this one because this is going to be a really cool story.
Next up is what if Minnie Mouse, or I guess it just says Minnie. What if Minnie became Captain Marvel? So this is in the vein of what if Wolverine, what if Donald Duck became Wolverine? What if Donald Duck became Hawkeye? Was one of them, right?
What if
Thor?
Thor,
yeah.
yeah.
Mickey was Hawkeye.
Mickey was Hawkeye. Yeah, that's Goofy was Hulk.
So this is written by Steve Belling and the art is by Giada Parasanotto. And it says it's inspired by Miss Marvel's #1 through 4, like the one from back in the 70s, and the cover is an homage to that first cover. Minnie Mouse is tasked with writing an expose on the new hero Captain Marvel. But Pegleg Pete Scorpion, and we talked about that. We love how it's just called, how they're called, like Donald Duck Wolverine, or Donald Duck Wolverine, or Donald Duck Thor. You know, they just like put the name. Like,
allowed to have secret identities in this. Yeah, your name comes before your title.
Yeah, like they called him Mickey Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So there is Pegleg Pete Scorpion, complicates her plans, and then there's John D. Rocker Duck and the Beagle Boys. They attack Scrooge McDuck's money bin, and when Captain Marvel shows up to stop them, Minnie discovers an incredible secret about her past. Maybe she'll like learn how she became Captain Marvel. So that's what's cool though. It's like this is inspired by Miss Marvel 1 through 4, but she's starting as Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And even though on the cover she looks more like Miss Marvel, but you know, it's Carol Danvers is really what they should have said. But yeah, just another fun Disney Marvel mashup. So if you really like the other ones, definitely pre-order this one. This is our A cover. We have a Casagrande variant. There's a Scorpion there. There's a Phil Noto variant. There's a Peach Momoko variant. That looks really cool.
That's really pretty.
And a Scotty Young variant, which that one's great.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Next up, Venom War. It's Jeff. So this is going to be a one-shot that ties in with the Venom War storyline. I'm gonna guess it's not gonna be super integral to the
probably not
to the finale of Venom War, but this is for sure gonna be a fun addition to it. So this is written by Kelly Thompson and the art is by Garahiru, who have been doing the It's Jeff web comic or the Marvel Unlimited comic. But this is going to be a print first. Unlike those, it's an oversized one-shot, and it just says, you know, Jeff is living his best life being the cutest little land shark, but his life's interrupted by the Venom War when it breaks out. And can Jeff keep his cool, or will it lead to being tempted by the symbiotes? Maybe he's going to get his own little... I think we've seen a symbiote Jeff before. He almost looks like an orca whale.
Right.
Because the way he looks and everything. But it says, and that leads to him maybe chomping on brains, which might work for being a shark or a symbiote. But this sounds really fun. I love when they do events and it's like a really serious event, you know, big stakes, but they can have fun with it over on the side with like cutie characters and stuff like that. And it kind of shows that they don't take themselves too seriously. So if you are a fan of Jeff, don't miss out on this one. Got our A cover here. And we have this super cool Inyuk Lee variant with Gwenpool, who we have not seen in a while.
Yeah.
But they're friends.
Well, next we have DuckTales. Woo! This is the first of a, I don't know how many issues this is going to be, but it's written by Brandon Montclair. The art is by Tommaso Ronda. And we know that Uncle Scrooge is rich from the perspective of having a lot of money, but he's also rich with stories. And in this one, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are going to pester him to share more and more stories about his legendary quests and globe-trotting treasure hunts. Now, I did read ahead to the solicitations for number 2, and it sounds like it's something way different than that. So I don't know if the whole mini series is going to be him telling tales of his conquest, or if this is going to be more like an anthology where he tells tales, and then the next one is a whole different thing. I'm not quite sure, but this is going to be shoot. I wish I knew if it were like a mini series or not. But the Uncle Scrooge book has done really well. The Darkwing Ducks is done great. So now we have
mostly
DuckTales.
they're doing ongoing, so I wouldn't be surprised if
Okay.
this is. I mean, DuckTales has enough
Oh yeah,
meat on
for
the
sure.
bone that it could be an ongoing.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know about this one. This is our A cover. We have a Tomaselli variant, and then there is a classic character art variant. Super classic.
Next up, we got Ultimate Spider-Man number 11. We wanted to spotlight this one because this is going to be your first appearance of this version of Black Cat. Because we do know we have Black Cat in the book right now, and he's like a super thief, part of the Sinister Six that Kingpin has put together. But I'm wondering, is this going to be maybe his daughter or?
Well, I mean, we saw in the a couple issues ago when they all came, all the Sinister Six came together. We saw a photograph of him, and I guess it was her. So I'm assuming, but we don't know 100% yet. But
yeah, we don't even know if her name's going to be Felicia Hardy or anything.
Yeah.
But this is going to be your new Ultimate Black Cat, and if you know Spider-Man, you know that is a big part of his life, and I can't wait to see what goes on with this. So we don't know if she's going to appear in the issue right before, maybe at the end, or is she going to be? This going to be your first?
We will know on Monday though, because number 10 comes out next week. We'll be talking about it on Monday, so maybe we'll have a little bit more information.
I could look real quick, but I'm not going
Right.
to because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, definitely don't miss out on this one. And it does say tensions are rising between Spider-Man and Green Goblin, and we know, you know, so far they've been pretty good friends, kind of learning together about being heroes. But there is that hint of they have different ideas of what it means to be a hero and what. Any Black Cat?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think she's in this one.
But you know, him and Green Goblin have had differences on how things should be done, and it looks like maybe a wedge is going to be driven between them. So don't miss out on this. I know you won't because everyone loves Ultimate Spider-Man right now, but another great issue with some really exciting stuff in it. This is your A cover. We also have a Core and Howl variant. Looks like she's, you know, definitely in the business of jewel thievery.
Yeah. She's dropping a lot. She's a terrible jewel thief. She's dropping everything.
That's how much she doesn't. She's got so much at home. She doesn't care about that little bit.
She's making it rain.
And we has a Casanova's connecting variant. Looks like with your Sinister Six a little bit. Next up, we got other number ones. Continuing on with even more cool stuff.
The Green Arrow annual for this year. This is the swan song for Joshua Williamson and Sean Isaacs. This is their last issue of Green Arrow that they're going to be working on before we go into Green Arrow 17 comes out before this, I think. So that's the first issue of the All In. I thought it was going to be this and then moving on to a new era, but I think they come out opposite. Anyway, it does say that this is an epilogue issue to the last year's worth of Green Arrow stories, and I can see it. They set up a whole lot of stuff. They've got to put a nice little bow on everything, and it says that Oliver Queen goes on an epic journey as he is forced to find the last lost piece of his life. I'm not quite sure what that might be. We haven't really got any hints about that so far, so we'll have to wait and see. But I'm very excited for Green Arrow, what's to come, but I'm very sad to lose this team because they have made one of the best Green Arrow books that we've had ever, you know? I mean, it definitely ranks up there with all the other ones. So sad to see it end, but it's going to be a great finale, I'm sure. So we have this A cover by Sean Isaacs, so that's your interior artist, and he's who did that Star Wars cover a minute ago. And then there's a Phil Hester variant as well. That's his, they're mad at him because of Absolute Power.
Yeah, oh man. I love that Aquaman just about to spear him.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Next up, we have Little Batman Month 1, which maybe it's not as depressing as it sounds like it could be. This could be a 4-issue miniseries by Morgan Evans and art by John Makel. And in this, this takes place after the events of Merry Little Batman, which was a miniseries from before. Damian Wayne is actually, instead of being Robin in this, he's Little Batman.
Oh,
And
okay.
he's eager to get back in the fight. But Bruce Wayne wants him to hang up his little cowl and just be a kid. But on New Year's Eve, they are throwing a party at the manor, and a suspicious guest is lurking around, and it's up to Damien to figure out who it is before it's too late, and some party crashers might be coming in there, some familiar faces. So if you're looking for a fun little book that, you know, is a fun little retelling, uh, I'll say there's something that's kind of the equivalent of this scene of Batman losing his parents, but not quite as
Mm.
horrendous.
I
Uh,
would love it if it was this art style, but still just as traumatizing, you know?
that would be so sad. But this is your A cover for that. And we also have a Patrick Ballesteros variant as well.
Next, we have String #1. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries from Mad Cave. This sounds really cool. Oh, shoot, I did not get the creative team on this, though. Oh, it's Paul Tobin and Carlos Javier Olivares, Sarah Colella, and Taylor Esposito. So, sorry, I didn't write
That
that
was so
down, but
smooth.
it was right there on the cover. I mean, I just remembered it. But this sounds really cool. So, this is about a young woman named Yoon Suk. She is a 25-year-old Korean American woman, and she has this ability to see the types of strings that connect people. So she can see two different kinds. There's a blue string that connects partners who have been intimate with each other. Let's say
There you
that.
go.
And then there's another kind of string she can see, and it's dark black, and it connects murderers and their victims.
It's two very specific
Yeah,
things.
and so you can see an example of the blue one on the cover there. She can see, and there's a lot of people getting busy on that cover, I guess. I don't know, but so she can see these two types of strings, and it says if you have a murder that needs solving, Yoon can help. If you're worried that your partner is cheating on you, Yoon can literally see if they are or not. However, so that all sounds great, right? But one day she notices a black string connected to herself. So that means that she's either going to get murdered soon or she's going to murder somebody else soon. And which one? We don't know. She's going to have to try to figure that out. But yeah, this sounds really cool. Really unique
Yeah.
idea. I haven't
And I
quite heard
love
this
the
before.
cover, the colors,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, so this should be a lot of fun. So we have our A cover, and then we have an Eden Shun variant.
And there's that black string.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have Mirka Andolfo's Sweet Paprika Open for Business. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries, but this time is not written by Mirka Andolfo or the
Mm.
art. This is going to be by Steve Orlando, and the art is by Emilio Pilu. And this is kind of following up on some characters that we met in the Black, White, and Pink #1, the Sweet Paprika book from about a year ago. And in this, we have some of those characters. Aubrey Jean, a young employee, is trying to impress his boss, Miss Paprika, and figure out his relationship with his friend with benefits, Persiska. But also, something's going to, just as their relationship is kind of solidifying, a new character named Kryn shows up to cause some turmoil. Plus, Aubrey wants to impress Paprika by taking on Infernum Press, which is the business they work
Mm.
for's most difficult client, an eccentric and dreaded author named Durian. So if you're a fan of Sweet Paprika, you know kind of what you're in for. The little spice, the kind of slice of life, all that fun stuff, but with angels and demons and a really cool world that Mirka Andolfo set up. You don't want to miss this one. We've got our A cover here. We do have a Mirka Andolfo variant. We have a Robbie Rodriguez variant and a Godtail variant.
Well, next we have Power Rangers Prime. This is a new Power Rangers series from Boom. This is by Melissa Flores and Michael Yee. And it just says it's a bold new era featuring a brand new team, a new mentor, and a threat to Earth, unlike anything you've seen before. I feel like Power Rangers have seen pretty much everything now, so they shouldn't be too
Including
surprised.
Ninja Turtles.
Right. I do like this says Angel Grove University, so maybe it's not high school kids, it's college
Yeah.
kids. Angel Grove University students face a difficult choice after crossing paths with a fugitive straight out of a legend. And they're going to hide her, and the consequences for doing so are dire, but her existence may not stay a secret for long. So Power Rangers fans, I know, we thought it was all going to end. All the comics were going to end a while back, but now we have a new Power Rangers Prime series to jump onto.
Like this Red Ranger with their like dinosaur sword gauntlet.
Yeah,
That's super cool.
yeah, that's really neat. So we'll have to see who all shows up. So that's our Dan Mora A cover.
Glad he's still on.
Love
on
everything.
art.
Yeah, there is a spoiler variant. Yeah, spoiler variant by Lee. I don't know if it's Jay Lee or another Lee.
It's a Lee.
Yeah, and then there is a foil variant by Var Bernardo with the classic Red Ranger. Yeah.
Next up, we got notable 2s and 3s continuations of series that have either already started or are about to start, but it's time to place your orders for them. Starting with Plastic Man No More #3. This is such a good series. Issue #2 is fantastic.
Love it, yeah.
And after issue #2 and the very disastrous and traumatizing team up with the Metal Men.
That last part was horrible. Like, I mean, not a horrible book, but like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that.
Plastic Man, he's gonna have some blood or metal on his hands.
He's gonna have some splaining to do, is what he's gonna do. Yeah.
So after that team up, Plastic Man may have to turn to an old enemy for help. If you're not reading this, this has been one of my favorite Black Label books of all time. The art is great. I love the switch between the two artists for the more traditional Justice League and then his more gritty side. So much fun. So this is our A cover for that. And then we also have this. Why do I feel he could actually do this?
Yeah. And he would do it.
Yeah. And we also have this Martin Morazzo variant.
Next, we've got DC Horror Presents Creature Commandos #2. The first issue came out a week or two ago, and it was a lot of fun. In this one, the Creature Unit, which is your Creature Commandos, they're preparing for their first mission. However, they're a little bit nervous about Lucky, who is your big bruiser in the back there, because last time he was out in the field, not even Zatanna could stop him from destroying everything and everyone in his path. But Mina is confident that she can control him, but can she? We'll have to wait and see. But I enjoyed the first issue. I like the artwork, so I can't wait to read this. So that's our A cover right there, and we have a Tom Fowler variant.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Avengers Assemble #3 of 5. We'll be getting issue #2 next week, so we'll be going over that on Monday. But in this issue, She-Hulk, Wonder Man, Lightning, and Lightspeed are deployed to rescue vampires. There are a lot of vampires in the Marvel Universe right now, and this is picking up on things from Blood Hunt, where they're actually having to defend vampires now, even though just not that long ago they were trying to kill them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be cool to see what's the status of vampires in the Marvel Universe at this point. So this is your A cover for that. We have Inyuk Lee. This is the jacket variant for this one. And there is a Segovia spoiler variant, so I wonder what that could be.
I don't know. We've got Moon Knight Fist of Khonsu #2. #1 comes out next week, and we'll be talking about it on Monday. This is your new Moon Knight series now that Mark Spector has been reborn. It's by your same creative team, though, of Jed MacKay and Alessandro Cappuccio. And it just says, what new threats and foes are waiting for the reborn Mark Spector? And that's pretty much it. So I don't really know what the story is going to be. I looked ahead to the solicitations for #3, but I still wasn't quite sure. So we'll have more information on Monday when the first issue comes out. But yeah, if you're a big Moon Knight fan of Jed MacKay's run, it's continuing right here. I just love how awesome 8-Ball looks. He is gonna.
That is quite the skin tight suit he's got there.
Yeah, and is that a pull cue?
Yes, because why not?
Yeah, for sure. So very, very excited for this. So we have our A cover. We have a Window Shades variant by Now Fuji. There's a Peach Momoko variant, and there is a Watcher Marvel 2-in-1 variant. I would like to see that.
I would love to see that team up. Is he throwing him into? I wish he was throwing him to the. Oh, it is the Yancey Street side.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Exceptional X-Men #3. If you've been reading this, you know this is going to be a really fun one, as Kitty Pryde has been trying to stay as far away from X-Men and superheroing and all that as she can. But of course, she can't help but tutor some of these new mutants that are popping up. She can't help but get in the middle of them and try to save them. But Emma Frost, on the other hand, keeps sticking her nose in it, and it looks like it's going to come to blows in this one as Emma Frost versus Kitty Pryde. Also, Axo, Melee, and Bronze enter the fray, so maybe we'll see them work together as a team. They were all brought together in the last issue, but We haven't seen them like in their suits or anything, so we might get a little piece of that. So this is your A cover. We have a David Ballion Emma Frost variant and a Mark Bagley 2-in-1 variant as well.
That's awesome.
Give me all of these. I want to see Thing teamed up with everybody.
Well, we've got Sentinels #2. #1 came out this week, and it was pretty cool. So in this one, the Sentinels are sent on a mission to enter an enemy nation, infiltrate a maximum security prison, and escape with Sebastian Shaw. So that sounds easy as pie, right? But will Shaw get the better of them, or does a greater shadow hang over Grey Malkin prison? And that's one of the things I thought was really cool is they're working out of Grey Malkin prison, and we're seeing that some over in Uncanny X-Men. A little bit of connective tissue there. So yeah, we'll see what kind of shenanigans they get up to. This is our A cover, and we have a John Zhang variant. That one's with Onslaught.
Yeah.
What is that alluding to?
Probably Onslaught. Next up, we have Wolverine #3. Issue #2 comes out next week, so we'll be going over it on Monday. Can't wait to check that out because I loved issue #1. In this one, Department H has their sights trained on Wolverine once again. So just when you thought he was out of the Weapon X program, they pull him right
back in.
And it says a key issue as the all-new villain moving against Wolverine comes into sharper focus. You know, sharper, funny claws. Yeah. But also, if you've been reading, if you read issue #1, you know there's some weird stuff going on.
Yeah.
That I think we're going to see a little bit more of. So this is your A cover. We have a Coming Coley the Thing variant, which this would be super cool to see.
Yeah, I love that he's still rocky, but they're spiky.
He'd be like,
but he still has the claws.
Either like Weapon T or Weapon 4 or something. We have an Ivan Coelho Marvel Fortnite Peelverine variant, which actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, give me that issue as well. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a Ken Lashley variant. They're up against the new Wendigo. We have a Lucas Warnick Stormbreakers variant. And that is it.
Well, we also have here Storm #2. #1 came out, I believe it was last week, and it was really cool. So in this one, if you read the first issue, you know that she has a little bit of radiation poisoning, but it's an unknown form of it. She got during the Oklahoma incident, and it's turned her cells into ticking time bombs. And as her final hours count down, will she find a cure for her illness at Night Nurse's new superhero hospital, or will it require enhancements from Dr. Voodoo to save her life? So Storm's going through it right now. She went through a few things in the first issue, and we'll have to see how she gets out of it.
I would like to see a whole book with Night Nurse's new superhero hospital.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
I would take a whole series
and make it like She-Hulk was, where a bunch of like D-list heroes and villains come in, and you just like, oh, I haven't seen them in years, you know. And
D-Man comes in with a broken arm or
that would be awesome.
Like that.
So this is our A cover. We have an Edge variant, and there is a Sousa variant also.
Next up, we've got Turtles of Grayskull, issue #2. I'm surprised it's taken a little while to get issue #2. But in this, we have Renee, who was the kind of surprise character that showed up in the back of, or in the end of issue #1, especially with, her tie back to some very early Turtle stories. She's doing everything she can to stop the Ninja Turtles universe and the Masters of the universe from getting tangled up. But that's becoming harder and harder because they are stuck in a time loop as He-Man and the Turtles battle on the Triceraton home planet. So really, really cool. I love that first issue. It felt a lot less like gimmicky than I thought it would. It wasn't just like, oh, the fun is just seeing the two here. It's like, oh no, there's a really cool story.
There was some substance to it,
and fantastic art by Freddie Williams II. So don't miss out on this one. We've got our A cover here. And we have a Reuben variant, which you got Montana up there. Yeah. You've got Orko running away from a train.
I like He-Man's face.
Yeah, that's really fun. Next up, we got cool covers.
We've got Batman #154. So this is the second part of the storyline that started in 153. I don't remember what the name of that story was, but in this one, Batman and James Gordon have to try to find out who killed blank. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but somebody died last issue, and Batman and Jim Gordon have to figure out who did it. Were the Court of Owls involved? And public sentiment is turning against Wayne Enterprises' public initiatives, because the new hero Commander Star, who we saw in last issue, is sowing some seeds of discontent. And I knew there was something shady about him.
He's kind of a tool.
Yeah, he wanted to help. He wanted to be a hero, but there was something off about that guy. So he's doing more shenanigans here. So we have this Delado variant, and then there is a Kevin McGuire Creature Commandos variant that is a nice homage to Justice League International, and that is
This is the show version.
oh yeah,
Because you got Weasel there, you got Frankenstein, you got GI Robot.
yeah. And why is it that way? Why is it rotated?
Who knows?
It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be rotated on the cover, but for some reason our image is flipped. I don't know why.
So you can see it even bigger.
That's right.
Next up, we have Action Comics number 1074. So we're continuing with our weekly Action Comics. We're getting our second part of this Phantom Zone story this coming week. Can't wait to check that out. But let's give us some hints to what's coming, because in this one, Superman somehow goes back in time and goes to Krypton. Really interesting here.
That sounds such like a Silver Age thing
I
to
love
do.
it, yeah.
That's awesome.
And it says, what shocking secrets will Superman find in Jor-El's lab?
Oh.
So I can't wait. I love the first one of this storyline. I can't wait to read the second one this week. And I love this as weekly because it's always, I know I have something big to look forward to. So this is your A cover by Clayton Henry, your interior artist. We've got a Sebastian Fumiara variant. A Ibrahim Mustafa variant, which is really cool, which also gives me feelings of that World of New Krypton, where Superman got like his uniform on Krypton.
All right, we have Birds of Prey number 15. Cassandra Cain has infiltrated the Ninth Day cult, or was it supposed to be corporation? It's supposed to be a corporation, but they act like
I think it's a cult.
Yeah. But she's gone radio silent, and the rest of the Birds of Prey don't know what's happened to her. So Black Canary, Big Barda, Grace Choi, and Onyx go in there to break her out, but what they find is much more than they feared. So I was gonna say the first issue. The first issue of this story arc was pretty cool. This is the next one and this cover is by Serge Acuna.
Next up, we have Poison Ivy number 27. This is also continuing with the new story arc they just started. Now Batman is involved. I did skim through this issue, and yeah, you've got Batman confronting Poison Ivy, which feels so classic.
Yeah.
Batman tries to get answers as the GCPD begins their hunt for Poison Ivy because she's attempting to uncover the truth behind the so-called Order of the Green Knight, which is an eco-terrorist organization that claims that Poison Ivy is their leader, but she's not, so she's going to try to figure out what's going on here.
And they were also referenced in Batman and Robin, the issue that came out this week, too,
cool.
which was pretty... They didn't play a big part, but it was cool that they were in there.
So we have our Jenny Frison variant and a Nubovich variant as well. She's got a skull with a spine.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Daredevil number 15, and we just had to show this awesome Thing variant.
Because this just looks like Hellboy.
Yeah, for sure.
And Daredevil makes her just Hellboy.
One of the demonic entities that's been bound to Matt's soul since the beginning of this run now binds itself to one of the people that Matt cares about the most. We don't know who, though. I'm sure it's not Elektra because she already had that happen to her. I think maybe it's Foggy or something, but we don't know for sure. But maybe it's Ben Grimm, and he turned into a big red rock monster.
Devil Thing.
Yeah, that guy looks so cool.
It's really cool. Next up, we have Phoenix number 5. So continue on with this. We've got kind of the story coming to a head in this one as Phoenix faces off against the dark god Paprika, which was awakened in the first issue of this. It sounds like those two stories that have kind of been separate are going to be coming together in this one. We've got our Thing variant, which is a Phoenix Thing. And we also have this really nice Mercado variant as well.
Well, we've got Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 26. Now, this is going to be either the first or the second appearance of Miles' new Vibranium suit. We don't know yet, but number 25 comes out next week, and we will be talking about it on Monday, so we will let you know on Monday for sure if he gets the suit in that issue or if it's going to be in this one. But this new suit might save his life because he's still a vampire. Or it might send him even deeper into an unending vampiric bloodlust. Either way, it's 50-50. But it's a gamble that Black Panther is willing to take if it cures him of his vampirism. So, I can't wait to see the suit, though. I love the design of it.
Yeah.
I wonder how long he'll keep it, though. Probably just for that one story. Yeah. And this is our A cover, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's our A cover.
Next up, ever heard of this book? This is
Yeah.
Walking Dead, Deluxe, that is hitting issue 100. We want to spotlight this because it's issue 100. If you know Walking Dead, you know what happens here.
If you know, you know.
I feel like it's like, is this a spoiler at this point since it's been out for so long?
Yeah.
But still, it's one of the most heartbreaking and violent moments in almost comics history. Not because hasn't been things more violent, but because of the lead up to it and the care about the character. And this is this is a big part where most
Yeah.
people, or a lot of people, I would say most people, a lot of people jumped off the book because it's the death of one of their favorite characters. I certainly was very upset by this, but we have finally reached it in the deluxe edition, so you get to see all of that, but this time in color.
In color, so you get to
which
see you get to see a lot of red
I
in
don't
this.
know if I want to see that. I'll
Yeah.
probably glance at it, but this is going to be pretty traumatizing. So we've got some great covers for this because it is a landmark issue. We have our David Finch A cover. We have our Julian Todino Tedesco variant, which also this was first appearance of Negan, right? Like he came in.
Was it
swinging.
this?
I thought
I don't remember.
And this is the Arthur Adams variant, and I think he was only doing covers for when these big characters first appear. So I think that might be this. We have a yeah, you know, here's a little hint.
This is the 1 second before variant.
Before we can't
Yeah.
show you that.
Yeah.
This is the Yasmin Putri variant. There's a Simon Bisley variant, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
You see Negan teamed up with Lobo from this one. And we have a Derek Hunter variant, which, yeah, it's just...
That is wrong in all the right ways.
Yeah, this is just mean. Next up, we have graphic novels and more.
This is the Batman Battle for the Cowl complete collection. This is going to be a trade paperback. It's going to sell for $39.99, and I mean, just collects the entire Battle of the Cowl. So there was a whole bunch of like little 3-issue miniseries that all came together to make up this whole thing.
There's the main Battle for the Cowl.
Yeah.
But then it was like, what are the other characters doing? And really, at this point, Batman was presumed dead. We knew that he wasn't, but we did not know who would pick up the mantle of Batman. And this is when we learned that it was going to be Dick Grayson. But there were other people vying for the spot, including Tim Drake and Two-Face, when Two-Face had his Two-Face version of the belt suit. Really cool. And once again, there's Wildcat on the cover, which is fantastic.
So this is the entire thing all in one nice trade paperback for $39.99.
Next up is Audrey Hepburn hardcover. I wanted to include this one because I am a big Audrey Hepburn fan. She is such an influential person, not only in her acting, but in her humanitarian work. This is by Michelle Botten, and the artist by Dorius Giacchetto. And it even has a foreword by Luca Dotti, who is Audrey Hepburn's son, who's kind of praising this book and everything. So you may know Audrey Hepburn from stuff like Breakfast at Tiffany's, Roman Holiday, Sabrina, My Fair Lady. I am a big fan of Breakfast at Tiffany's and Sabrina. I love those. But she's so much more than that. She was a ambassador for UNICEF and helping children. And something I didn't really know, she witnessed World War II firsthand as a little girl.
Wow.
And how that kind of informed her life going forward. She had a very kind of fragile private life.
How did she witness it? Was she?
She was there. I mean,
like she was in Germany. Was she in Auschwitz? Or
I don't know, but she's a British actor, and so I'm not sure how much of it, like what she saw of it, but you'll have to read to find out.
Interesting.
But very interesting, and her just boundless love for children, and her, what she considered her biggest vocation, other than her singing and dancing and all that, was her help with children and everything. So sounds fantastic. I really want to read this because she is a fascinating person. But a hardcover. I believe it's a hardcover. Yeah, hardcover. And it is only $24.99.
We've got the Destro trade paperback. This is going to collect Destro number 1 through 5. Number 5 comes out next week. We'll talk about it on Monday. That is the last issue of Destro and the last issue of everything G.I. Joe related before we actually get into G.I. Joe number 1 in November. And I read it the other day, and it's really, really cool. Kind of brings everything together. And now we are going to go on with G.I. Joe. But so this is going to collect the whole Destro series, and it's going to be $14.99.
And it has a variant.
I forgot. God, I'm not used to them doing this yet with regular trade. So
Yeah.
the cover we saw a second ago, that was the standard edition cover, which you can find at any bookstore. This is the direct market exclusive, which you can only find at comic shops like ours.
And I think they did that with Duke too. Didn't Duke had 2 covers? I think.
Yeah, I believe so. I think I think they've done it with all of them. So you think I would be used to that by
Yeah.
now, but I keep forgetting.
Old dog, new tricks,
Yeah, I
that
know.
kind of thing. Next up, wanted to show you that they are doing a DC All-In Special #1 second printing, which you don't, if you didn't read it, you know, you definitely don't want to miss out on this because it technically is your first appearance or first cameo appearance of Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Batman. Plus, it's a great story. It really sets up stuff to come in the coming months and years of DC Comics. Uh, that really, like, you know, we're getting a New Gods book that spins out of here.
Oh yeah.
All the weird stuff going on with Darkseid that comes out from here.
Plus, the Justice League satellite is actually going to be a pretty central setting in a bunch of different books because that's where the Justice League is based out of, and a lot of them live there.
Yep.
And you see the formation of that in this.
Yeah, so very important book if you haven't read it, but if you're trying to collect all the printings, everything, you don't want to miss because it does say allocations may occur.
And then we have Hyde Street #1 second printing. And that's pretty much all you need to know. I mean, this is a great issue. We have the Devour one shot coming soon, which I still have not read that yet. But yeah, this was great. We highly recommend it, especially for this time of year. Although this comes out in early November, so Halloween will be over by then. But just a really great supernatural horror book. And if you miss it the first time, you can grab this one.
And that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, head over to infinityflux.net right now where you can place your pre-orders for these books because you don't want to miss out on them. There's some really big ones coming out and more stuff is selling out day one. I keep upping the orders and people keep swarming out to get everything.
Which we thank you for. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have, but I would hate to think that somebody missed out on something they really wanted to read. And just like Absolute Batman, it's sold out at the distributor level. And, you know, we can't order more for people until the second printing. I don't want that to happen to anybody. So get your orders in. That guarantees you a copy. We will, you know, do everything we can. Even if a book comes in damage, we will find a way to get it to you. That is kind of our guarantee. So you will not miss out on any of the goodness. And you don't want to miss out on some of these books as they are going to be huge, like Absolute Superman. I can't wait to talk about it with everybody once they've read it, just like how Absolute Batman was that way. That was so much fun. Wonder Woman next. So don't miss out on any of those or any of these other awesome books we talked about, like West Coast Avengers and so many more. So that is it for us. Let us know in the comments what are you most excited about because we'd love to see, we'd love to talk to you about it, and yeah, be just as excited as us about new comics coming out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so until next time, Monday, we've got our show where we're going over all the biggest books coming out next week. I've got my stack over here.
This is my stack, and that's not everything coming out. That's just my stack. Andy's stack is very similar.
Yep.
And even those two stacks together are not everything that's coming out. There's even more, so tons of stuff next week.
Yeah, so don't miss out on that on Monday. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time,
See ya.